So this may be the largest amount of single figures, short of the Shriners convention floor shots that I throw in every now and then. This may be the largest number of single figures, especially from a single IP, that I have ever put in frame here on Action Figure Obsession. And I'm going to zoom in a little, give you a better look at them, and tell you who they are. And then we'll talk a little bit about the irony of my Star Wars collection here on the very properly named Action Figure Obsession. This was the one I wanted the most. Well, I should tell you who everyone is first and then give you the story, I guess. Fix his rangefinder or whatever that is. So we have the, I believe, and I'm going to get some of these names wrong, or some of the costume designs I probably will misidentify. I should just state right up front, I don't like Star Wars. And you're saying to yourself, what? Did he just say that out loud? He doesn't like Star Wars? I don't. I have enjoyed some Star Wars, but again, we'll get into it. We'll get into it. I got to stay focused and disciplined, structured. Oh, Mother Mary. Boba Fett from, I think, Return of the Jedi. And then we have the Mandalorian, his fellow homeworlder from Mandalore, presumably. F an ancient Han Solo from the Return of Star Wars, whatever that one was called, and Chewie. I don't think Chewie is the old Chewie, Chewbacca the Wookiee there. I think this is, but I don't really care. It's Chewbacca and it's Han, and they're together, and who cares? Probably two of the ones that I like the most. There are a couple that I like here for nostalgic / character design reasons. Well, actually, a lot. All of these I bought because I like the character designs. Okay, not because I love Star Wars, because I don't. But if there's anything that I like about Star Wars, it's C-3PO and R2-D2. How could you not? What is wrong with your soul if you don't like C-3PO and R2-D2? I actually know their names. What I didn't know, well, that'll be out there. Maybe we'll get to that too. Okay, so then we have the former Anakin Skywalker, Ani. I love his pretzels. Auntie Annie's pretzels at the mall, Darth Vader. Yep. So I'm tempted to tell a story about each goddamn one. I can't help myself. This guy, General somebody or Admiral somebody, or, if you'd asked me when I bought it, I would have remembered. Cobb Vanth, that I basically got because I love the actor, whose name is, I don't know. The guy from, with the hat. Raylan Givens. The Raylan Givens Show. What the hell was the name of that show? Oh my God. It's very, very early, dear friends, and very little caffeine. Little baby Luke Skywalker here. Does he look tiny compared to everybody else? Yeah. The rabbit guy. Can't remember his name either. And this guy is another guy, the man in black, the space cowboy. I used to know his name. It's just, in order for it to stay in my conscious memory, I really have to care. I mean, I bought him for the costume design. Look at that. The hat comes off. Come on. There we go. So he's like a cyborg space cowboy. He's kind of Cable and Deathlock adjacent in that he looks like he might be, like I say, part cyborg. And I don't think he's a time traveler. I don't know if he has an evil clone or not, but he should. Because he's right up my alley. His hat is problematic because I don't know which way it goes. I assume, yeah, this seems to be the front, but I don't know. And again, I don't really care. This is the Boba Fett from the TV series, The Book of Boba Fett, which I remember. Yep. And watched and enjoyed most of, but it really seemed to go off the rails in its most recent season. And then we have the, and I, again, like with R2 and C-3PO, I do have a lot of nostalgic affection, having seen that god-awful Christmas special or holiday special, Star Wars holiday special, that you can see on YouTube, by the way, and it's worth it just to see the animation that this guy, the first version of Boba Fett ever shown on film, appeared in. So this is from that animated sequence of the Star Wars Holiday Special from, I think, 77, 78, whenever that aired. The animation looks like Mobius, the comic book artist, aka Jean Giraud, and it's stunning to watch. I mean, I realize it's not canonical now, probably. I don't give a shit about Star Wars canon, obviously, or I wouldn't have this particular weird array of people. You probably heard somebody fell over just then. It was this guy, who ironically is wearing this guy's hat, if you think about it. Yeah. But let's get you back where you belong there, Ben. And, the wolf cap head got knocked on its side, too, as a result of that very slight incident. Okay. All right. So, story time. Story time? For what it's worth. I mean, I don't know how much of a story I'm going to have here, but this was a special request from my viewer, Dr. Witty Banter, and his support and his encouragement and his comments on my videos have earned him the right to say, hey, do Star Wars next. And here we are doing Star Wars relatively next. I mean, I had a lot to get out of my system last night, and I have a lot I need to get into my system this morning. Holy free holies. Anyway, so if there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 figures here, I think that that I would have in my collection out of just the sheer nostalgia of having been someone who was present on opening night when Star Wars was released in 1977. I was 11 years old, and that Star Destroyer entered the screen and took about an hour and a half to get across the screen. And having already at that point been converted into a hardcore Trekkie, or Trekker, if you're, a weirdo, it totally revised my thought of what science fiction, filmed science fiction entertainment, we'll call it, could be. It seemed more realistic. It seemed more fantastical. It just seemed like, holy shit, we are in for some kind of a story here. And we were. 11-year-old me was very pleased with Star Wars, enjoyed it a lot. That year I got, or whenever, I guess the toys came first, then the figures. Kenner kind of screwed up. Well, nobody could have possibly predicted the popularity of Star Wars, the first Star Wars movie. George Lucas had a lot of trouble, even getting it made. I don't know that anybody really believed in his dream until it hit the box office, and then wham. So, this is probably my number one favorite character of the Star Wars figures that I have, which I have mostly just because I like the costume design. I just think they look cool. But I do definitely have nostalgia for Boba Fett. And I don't have, hundreds of them like Dan Larson from Secret Galaxy, formerly Toy Galaxy, back when it was good and he used to do action figure reviews, but that's another video. I love the color. The backpack looks a little dust. I did try to dust these off because I never take them off the shelf, so they were all pretty dusty. Darth Vader, by the way, he is a dust magnet. Holy cow. Death Magnate, and Dust Magnet. I love the extent to which they tried to reproduce the accurate colors on Boba Fett's jetpack. Look at that. It's fantastic. It really is. That mix of colors, it speaks to me. It sings to me. It opens my heart with love of the design, of the person that said, no, we're going to put all that paint on it. We're going to put, and then we're going to put some dry brushing on it, and we're going to make it work. I had a second one of this. It was still in the box. Traded it off at my last sort of mini purge where I was just like, well, I don't really need 2 of this one. I don't really need 2 of that one. I needed more than 2 of this one. Look at the color. Look at the paint. The helmet is covered with dry brushing to give it that aged and weathered look. I'm not going to celebrate them all the way that I celebrate this one, but this one really is just a thing of beauty. The rangefinder, the rangefinder goes up as he falls down. They almost all of them have tiny little Bucky Cap style baby feet. so they don't really stand particularly well. But also, just as a general rule, by the way, these are from Hasbro's Star Wars Black Series, sort of Marvel Legends, but for Star Wars. And when I first bought my first Black Series figure, which may well have been this one, and this came out not that long ago, maybe 6 years ago. But the backpack alone, there was no way I was leaving that on the shelf. Look at the reds and the orange and the blue and the yellow. My God, that silver missile! Oh, that silver missile, just proudly standing tall, ready to take off. Yeah. Yep. So this probably was the first one that I fell in love with, and when I bought it, it's a quote unquote 6-inch scale, 1/12 scale action figure. And when I bought this one, or whichever the first one was, and I've probably been through a few that I've gotten in and gotten rid of, because again, I don't really care about Star Wars, not the same way I care about Star Trek or Marvel or even G.I. Joe. And my love for G.I. Joe or Real American Hero came, well over 30 years after the show went off the air. Sometimes I get, drawn in by other people's nostalgia, and then I get sucked into it. And that's what happened with G.I. Joe or Real American Hero, and why I have 380 G.I. Joe classified figures. But I was surprised whenever I got my first Star Wars Black Series figure. First of all, I was surprised that, the sculpting is great. And the sculpting is great on most of these. The textures, the way the wrinkles hang on Luke's tunic, the details on R2-D2. They really committed to Old Man Han. He's great on Shrinking, by the way. Harrison Ford, there's an Apple TV series called Shrinking where he plays a elderly psychologist who's dealing with Parkinson's disease. And I know that doesn't sound like fun, but his character isn't the central character to the show, but in a way, all the characters are the central character to the show. And it is a fantastic, brilliant series, Shrinking. It's about a small practice of mental health professionals and the way they interact with their patients and with each other. And it's funny, and it's life affirming, and it's occasionally heartbreaking. Really, really well done from the same people that did Ted Lasso. It's really, really Shrinking. You got to see it. And if you like Harrison Ford, it's probably, and I've been watching Harrison Ford and stuff since 1977, but it's probably the best thing he's ever done. It's just amazing. But yeah, so Boba Fett here. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, he was the first. Let's just say he was the first, and I was super impressed with how the figure looked in the package. Saw some reviews. What I didn't realize is, I thought they were, a sister 6-inch brand of Hasbro's, or a line of Hasbro figures. So these goddamn Star Wars Black Series figures are super fucking short, is what I'm trying to say. I mean, this Captain America is slightly above average for Marvel Legends, but, this Wolverine is... this Wolverine is slightly below average for Marvel Legends. In fact, he's considerably below average for Marvel Legends, and here he is, pretty much. There they all go. There they all go. I gotta come up with a way to make this work. Holy shit. Okay, now they're all just gonna. Right, I'm going to show you this comparison. Son of a bitch. Look at him. So Boba Fett, presumably a normal height adult male, is barely taller than Wolverine, who I think is 5'2" or something in the comics, maybe 5'4". And again, I don't really care about the exact measurements of the goddamn Marvel handbook or whatever. It's just, do they look good together? And so I was very, very disappointed to find that Star Wars Black Series does not look good with G.I. Joe Classified or with Marvel Legends. They are a thing unto themselves, which is why they live on a shelf by themselves in my collection, and it's down on the bottom, just sort of fronting some books on the bottom shelf of a former bookcase. Every other shelf is packed with figures. The bottom shelf is packed with books, and then I toss my Star Wars figures in front of them just to give them a place to live. They don't take up much space, believe me. How could they? They're all too goddamn short. Yeah, but I do love the look of that Boba Fett. I forgive him for being short because I love him. I'm sure many women have said the same thing about their husbands. 15 minutes to get through the first character. All right, well, I'll try to speed this up a little. I made most of my points in discussing Boba Fett. I loved the Mandalorian TV show, probably up until the point where AI, Luke Skywalker, showed up. I wasn't wild about that. And, I have a use for AI in my, existence. I write songs, and I don't know any singers or musicians that can help me, and I can't pay them. So, I use Suno AI to make songs out of my lyrics that I write, and some of them are pretty good. If you ever check out my playlists, you'll find some recent albums that I think are pretty good. Are Let's Rock, which is kind of a David Lynch, David Bowie, Nine Inch Nails tribute, and a trip hop album that is called Always on the Run, which is, I think, my strongest work so far. But there's a number of albums in my essential playlists, or essential albums playlist. If you go to that on the homepage of my channel. So yeah, there's a place for AI, but I think recreating dead people in movies and TV shows, especially if they didn't have any say in it, and I'm not sure one way or the other. And obviously Mark Hamill isn't dead. I was thinking more of Carrie Fisher when I said that, by the way, but they've done it with some other characters and some other actors, I believe, as well. This is a good Mandalorian figure. I like it. I used to have a Grogu. I don't know what the hell happened to my Grogu. I can't believe that I got rid of him. Baby Yoda. Shit. I'd probably get one just to go with the Mandalorian. I don't know. I don't know what happened there. I must have really been feeling anti-Grogu to not know where my Grogu is. Doctor, I don't know where my Grogu is. I can't find it. Well, lay down on this table here, and we'll see what we can do. Yeah, I liked the Mandalorian TV show. I like the idea of it. I like Pedro Pascal, although man, he is way overexposed. Like I didn't object to the idea of him as Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four movie, but then I saw it, and it's just like, I mean, I kind of enjoyed the movie. I didn't hate it, and I'm pretty sure I didn't even get through the end of it though, because I just got bored. It's like, oh, more Pedro Pascal. Yeah, it's just what I needed. I do like him in The Last of Us, so of course I'm shit out of luck. Spoilers. Ancient Han Solo. I am a big Harrison Ford fan. All their feet suck. They all need Kiki's weak feet mix, weak feet fix. That's not easy to say. Weak feet fix. Oh God, they're falling again. I just fixed them. You son of a bitch, you old bastard. Come on. You just got a Lifetime Achievement Award. You can't stand up for 2 goddamn seconds. What is going on with these feet? Motherfucker. All right, this is starting to really piss me off. Now we're going to have to get into it. All right, there we go. I think I'll stay up now. Sometimes I forget with the ones that have like a diaphragm cut, like a good diaphragm joint there. See that line across his shirt? I sometimes forget I should bend back the diaphragm to get him to stand up a little straighter. That helps, doesn't it? You did good, kid. Yeah. I do like Han Solo in Star Wars and in Empire Strikes Back. I mean, I know is probably the greatest line in the entire Star Wars franchise at the end of Empire Strikes Back. Empire Strikes Back is the only Star Wars movie that I really actually just love. I love it from start to finish. I wish that it wasn't unresolved. I wish it told the complete story because I really do love it. But I fucking hate Return of the Jedi. Largely the reason why I'm telling you that I don't like Star Wars is Return of the Jedi. I was 17 years old when that movie came out. Went to see it in the theater, and it was all fucking Muppets and Ewoks, and I was just like, I was literally fuming when I stomped out of the movie theater. Hated it. And that was when it became clear to me that George Lucas's concept of Star Wars, which I had thought was, epitomized by all of the Empire Strikes Back and most of Star Wars, especially that Star Destroyer opening scene in the first Star Wars movie in 1977. That's what I wanted from Star Wars. I wanted a semi-serious science fiction adventure that I could immerse myself in. I was fully immersed in Star Trek for most of my life from the time that I was like 7 years old. And even the Tribbles didn't, and again, I was a kid when I first saw the Tribbles. Maybe that's a factor. But the Tribbles never pissed me off the way the Ewoks did. And I guess it's because the Tribbles were, they were kind of the antagonist of that episode of Star Trek. They were not the Deus Ex Machina that the Ewoks were. Oh my God, everything's gone to hell, and what are we going to do? And we're all doomed. And here's a bunch of Ewoks. The Muppets will save us, and they do. Fuck the Ewoks. I hate them. And they ruined Star Wars for me at the tender age of 17. Oh man, all these, why are they leaning? What the hell? Oh, he stood right up. Okay. Chewie. I got to be careful not to say that too loud. The cat gets really excited if she hears me say it because she thinks we're putting in a Chewie order. Chewbacca the Wookiee. I don't have a whole lot to say about him. I've had a couple of these. This is the one that I liked enough to keep. He's a big, giant space dog, Bigfoot. I mean, what else is there to say? I wanted Han Solo. You got to have a Chewie. And that really is, I want to say Baba Booey. Chewie, Baba Booey. I won't bother pulling these guys out. Although I will say, this R2-D2, there are a number of places on it that you'll see look like they're recessed ports that you could actually pull the panel out of and get stuff. And they're real. I did not realize that when I bought this. This is the nicest looking R2-D2 that I've ever seen in a 6-inch scale. You'll notice it's almost as tall as Luke Skywalker. It's a beautiful little figure. I got this maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Was super delighted when I realized that you could like pop out these blue panels here, and there's other accessories and stuff in there. I'm not going to do it on the video right now because it's just that would be way too much of a hassle, and I don't have my Cobb job, my Vance Cobb job tripod set up. I should have probably used that for this, and I didn't. I let you down. Sorry, I let you down. C-3PO. Bought this from Replay Toys in Burn Hills, New York. Have watched C-3PO on film and in movies since 1977. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you I've seen every Star Wars movie. I certainly haven't seen every Star Wars TV show, but I have seen most of them. I saw the original trilogy. Unfortunately, I have seen the second trilogy. I saw the first one when they came back, with Adam Driver as Han's son. I saw Rogue One. Oh, I enjoyed Rogue One. So yeah, my good Star Wars movie list is basically Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back and Rogue One. I took my son to see was it the Clone Wars or Attack of the Clones, whatever it was called, the animated film. One of the few good examples of me being a good dad, because I didn't like Star Wars even then, but I liked my son, and I still do. He's awesome. Go, Aaron. And so I took him to see that animated film, and we had a good time. And I enjoyed it. The animation was good. It was whatever the animated movie that was in theaters that had clones in the title. That was good. But I never knew, somehow, after all the years of watching Star Wars, that apparently, and I'm told this by Shane at Replay Toys in Burnt Hills, New York, that C-3PO has always had a Cobb-jobbed silver leg. And I asked him, why does this one have his leg has obviously been replaced. I assume it's battle damage, and, he got a new one. He's like, oh, he was always like that. Now, that's my probably biggest Mandela effect experience in my life. I mean, I do remember a scene where he was broken into bits and pieces and he was being carried around in a basket or a net or something on somebody's back. Was that Chewie? All right. This is the man. This is the motherfucking man. James Earl Jones. Was it David Prowse played the the body, and James Earl Jones played the voice. Okay, this one, Nothing But Love. This was one that came out, and I don't know if this is Empire Strikes Back or Star Wars or Return of the Jedi. I don't know which. It's from one of the first 3 movies, I believe. Once you move the cape out of the way, it's a little less impressive because he has like a super narrow chest, and but the paint is nice on the chest. The all the little bleeps and bloops and buttons and knobs. Do not mention my knobs. Yeah, okay, sorry about that. It's good. It's a good figure. I would probably keep this just to put it as a supervillain in my Marvel Legends collection if I was going to get rid of everything else here. It's a good supervillain. I got nothing bad to say about it. It was probably, Darth Vader. The character of Darth Vader was probably inspired at least partially by Doctor Doom. All of Star Wars, the original George Lucas vision of Star Wars, was a pastiche of other people's ideas. The Japanese movie, The Hidden Fortress, I believe, is that the name of it? And, some Lord of the Rings, and definitely a lot of Jack Kirby. And, Darth Vader is basically like, what if Darkseid and who did I just say the other? Oh, Doctor Doom. What if Darkseid and Doctor Doom were the same guy, It's a beautiful figure, and it's, explain that to me. He's taller than Captain America. Another reason to like him, right? This is Darth Vader's son. As an adult. A young adult, yes, but everybody says, well, Mark Hamill's really short. Okay, that doesn't mean that... Follow me here. Mark Hamill is short. Okay? That doesn't mean that Luke Skywalker has to be as short. I don't ever remember him in the movies appearing to be 13 years old. And that's, at best, how tall that figure appears to be. It's otherwise a thing of beauty, which is why I bought it. And definitely why I bought Darth Vader over here. I mean, Darth Vader is one of, I think, the 4 that I mentioned that I actually get excited about, I love Boba Fett. I love C-3PO and R2-D2. And I love the Darth Vader. After that, it's diminishing returns. I think this is an admirable sculpt on Luke Skywalker. But why is he so goddamn short? Why? Why? Was Hasbro always screwing us on plastic by just making everybody short? All right, this guy, that evil motherfucker. Yeah, can't remember his name. Was he the guy that played Doctor Who in the 1960s movies? Peter Cushing? Is it Peter Cushing? I'm not sure. If you underestimated, by the way, how much I'm not really that up on Star Wars or interested in Star Wars as an intellectual property, as a fictional world in which one can reside and spend some time, like Twin Peaks or Star Trek or The Prisoner or, God, what else? Banshee, I don't know. There's a lot of shows that I can get into and kind of let myself live in it while I'm watching it. Star Wars ain't one. But for a while there, a lot of the Star Wars figures were going for $5 at Ollie's because they made way too many of them. And, they're way too short, so a lot of people don't get them. That's my reasoning anyway for some of them. But this guy was $5, and he looks like a space Nazi, I'm pretty sure I've posed him with my Red Skull a time or two. I think he either lost his gun or I gave it to somebody else. I'll have to look on the floor by the display because I don't think I would have taken his gun away from him. But I don't know where it is. Cobb Vanth lost his vest. I can tell you that. Cobb Vanth came with a vest. I remember that. I bought it partially because I love the vest and also because I love the actor who played Raylan Givens on that show. Can't remember the name of the show. Can't remember the name of the actor. It'll come to me as soon as I shut off the camera. Don't worry about it. But It's a really, really nice head sculpt. It's a little glossy. He's a little sweaty Betty a little. But I had thought at one point about maybe if I got this figure before I got it, I thought maybe I'd put the head on another body, like a Marvel Legends, you know, MCU Matt Murdock body, the gray suited body. But these heads aren't easily swappable. They have a different peg size, and also the heads are smaller because the figures are smaller. I would submit to you, I think they're smaller than 1/12 scale. I think the average figure in this line is not even 6 inches. But Cobb Vanth looks damn good there, doesn't he? I'm actually thinking I got to go and figure out who I gave his vest to and give it back to him. I'll have to look up the figure. I think I'll be able to find it if I actually just Google this figure. He just, oh my God, it's so well done. The little scarf here, schma, whatever that is. He's got his gun there. You know, and Raylan Givens here, Cobb Vanth, he was basically the space sheriff on The Mandalorian, and he did a really, really good job. I've liked this actor, whose name I cannot recall for the life of me. In everything I've ever seen him in, he had that show where he was the bounty hunter or whatever he was, probation officer. Raylan Givens. Oh, he was a U.S. Marshal, wasn't he? Now that I think about it, Marshal Givens. Yeah, I think so. I love that show. I think I've watched it all the way through twice. You'd think I'd remember his fucking name. Mark Hamill. Star Wars. The Joker. Carrie Fisher's bestie. Pretty good likeness. Pretty good likeness. His likeness is difficult because, you know, he has two different likenesses. He has his 1977 Star Wars likeness, which I think this is. And then he has his post-facial reconstruction surgery likeness in Empire Strikes Back. That's why they did that whole thing where he gets his face chewed up in the cave there, in the ice cave by that thing that I used to know the name of, that creature. I almost brought up my G.I. Joe classified polar bear. Just to put him next to Luke here. Space Bunny. He's dual wielding. He's packing a hand cannon on both hips. I remember the cover of the Star Wars comic. Oh, he's got some dust on him. Let me get that off. I thought I got all the dust. Can't remember Space Bunny's name. I used to know it, but again, I don't really bother committing Star Wars stuff to memory. I own him, Action Figure Obsession, because he's a space bunny in a pilot suit, in a space bunny costume, and that is the only reason I own that figure, and I love it. I don't love it as much as the other four I mentioned, but he's pretty cool. This guy, I knew his name for a little while. Can't remember it. Sorry. And this is the last one that I won't be able to remember who it is, if that's any comfort to you. But I was a big fan when I got this figure. I was a big fan of what they were doing on Westworld, and he kind of reminded me of, you know, the Ed. God damn! It is so early and no caffeine. The Ed, whoever the character, the guy, the bald guy that played the Man in Black on. Forgive me, I am really, really just leaking brain cells this morning. But anyway, he reminded me of the Man in Black from Westworld. You know, he's got that same sort of, he's mad, bad, and dangerous to know. They did a really nice job on this figure. Lots of paint, shading on the jacket, just the details of the blue skin. Oh my God, I love that blue skin. I used to have two of this guy. I wish I had kept the other one too, because they were two different sculpts. They looked a lot alike, but they weren't identical. That is a cool looking figure. That's just, regardless of where it's from or what it's supposed to represent, it's top shelf, absolutely top tier, one of the best in the Black Series line, in my opinion. Book of Boba Fett. I know the helmet comes off. Can I do it without? There we go. So there he is. Temuka Morrison, am I correct? Is it Temuka or Tezuka? I think it's Temuka Morrison. This is him. I thought about doing a custom Brian Michael Bendis, but he's too good looking to be Brian Michael Bendis. I enjoyed the show for the most part. Again, I think I went off the rails there at some point. Book of Boba Fett when they started doing, I think, towards the end of the last season, whatever it was, when they were jumping back and forth in time. Not a big fan of stories that jump back and forth in time unless it's, like Slaughterhouse-5 or something where it really matters. Love me some Kurt Vonnegut, by the way. Probably one of my top 2 or 3 all-time favorite writers and one of the greatest human beings that ever lived. And there's really nothing else to say about the Book of Boba Fett. Boba Fett. Finally, this is one that I agonized over for a long time. The animated first appearance Boba Fett. But I remember that cartoon. I think I actually have it downloaded on my laptop. Just that animated holiday special sequence. I see his rifle's got a little Peyronie's disease going on. Hasbro gonna Hasbro. They cheaped out on the paint a little, but on the other hand, it's supposed to be an animated, simplified, minimalistic look. I don't know if his helmet comes off or not, and I don't care enough to try. It's just another Boba Fett. My third favorite, well, actually, if I put all 3 of them together. The only one that I love is the Return of the Jedi one. And then I guess I actually like the animated one more than the Book of Boba Fett one. And that maybe goes to my ambivalence about the Book of Boba Fett. And then he pulled out to show you all the figures. So, it's been almost 40 minutes. And 49 years of my life in Star Wars since 1977, 77 to 87, 87 to 97, 97 to 07, 07 to 17. Yeah, it'll be 50 years next year, right? Since 1977, since Star Wars came out. It's given me a little bit of joy, a little bit of happiness from time to time. Some of these figures do still make me happy. The Boba Fett on the far left there, and R2-D2, C-3PO, and Darth Vader. I do like the Cobb Vanth figure enough that I'm going to try to figure out where his vest went and give it back to him. Hopefully I didn't trade that away. Put it on some other figure and then get rid of it. That sounds like me. That's totally on brand for me. But I'm hoping that I still have his vest. If not, I can give him fucking Jimmy Woo's vest, I think would work for the same effect. Just the color contrast, whatever. So, Dr. Witty Banter, hopefully I haven't disappointed you too much with my thoughts on Star Wars, the franchise, and Star Wars, the action figures, and Star Wars Black Series, and little tiny, super short, what's his name? Luke Skywalker. Thank you. Here he is. Next to another George Lucas movie character, although this isn't what he looked like in the movie, I don't think. Maybe he was. This is the What If Marvel Legends Howard the Duck. And look how tall he is. He's a duck, folks. He's a fucking duck. He's a duck. Look how tall he is next to Luke Skywalker. He's a fucking duck. Here's a disembodied head. He came with Howard the Duck. He comes up to Luke Skywalker's knee, this disembodied head. That is the cartoon What If animated Paul Rudd, Ant-Man, by the way, from the Marvel Zombies cartoon. I'm going to leave, since Howard the Duck is kind of a quasi-George Lucas character, I'll leave him in there. Look how much bigger this disembodied head is than Luke Skywalker's head. It's like 3 times the size of Luke Skywalker's head. Looks more like Norm Macdonald than Paul Rudd, doesn't it? From some angles. Like a young Norm Macdonald that was still breathing. Oops. Oh, now I can really show him off. I forgot that came off. There we go. It came off, but it doesn't come out, which is too bad because this would be great just as my disembodied head jar. And it didn't always have to be the animated version of Ant-Man, Paul Rudd. Okay. We're rambling now. It's what I do. Check out my recent song "Ramblin' Man" in the playlists in the 2026 Avian and Loaded Songs playlist. Every song that I've written this year is in that playlist. I've written like close to 80 songs this year, which is batshit crazy. What's even crazier is a lot of them are actually pretty good. Ask Dr. Witty Banter. He's a big fan of my music. That's what got him in, brought him in, and then the action figures kept him in, I think. I hope so anyway. I hope that you folks will check out everything else that's going on this channel. There are other things. There's a comic book podcast that I did with a former colleague of mine. You could give that a listen. That's about a decade old, but it's some nice discussions about the art form and industry of comic books and graphic novels. There's my music, which is the bulk of what's on this channel, over probably close to 650 different not different songs, but different versions of my songs. Sometimes if I have good lyrics, I'll try it in different genres of music just to see which one it works best in, and I kind of work it out and upload them so you guys can make up your minds what you like. And there's also some sort of quasi-humorous news reports. If it snows, I might go out in the snow and do a news update on the snow, that kind of thing. There's a lot of stuff on this channel. Poke around. Maybe you'll see something else in the playlists that interests you. There's a playlist for pretty much every category of my content. And it's not just action figures and music. There's a few other things going on. But it's mostly action figures and music. And lately it's mostly action figures because with my recent, hopefully temporary foot problem, the most comfortable position in this entire house is just sitting here at this table talking to you. And with a little more caffeine, it might have even been good. Oh, and a guy with a lightsaber. I should give you another guy with a lightsaber. So there's, see? Yeah. If I truly hated Star Wars, I wouldn't have this Tony Masters action figure. Sorry I keep calling him Tony Masters. That's his character's real name, T Masters. But I can never remember what his supervillain name is. All right, that'll do it for this edition of Action Figure Obsession. The Star Wars edition. And thank you to everyone involved in Star Wars who gave me the parts of Star Wars that I loved. And to George Lucas, hey, buddy, thanks for the Ewoks. Thanks for the fucking Ewoks. That's why this collection is so small and will probably not really ever get much larger. The Ewoks. It's all about the Ewoks. That'll do it for this edition of Action Figure Obsession. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like Star Wars, you're probably going to want to give it a thumbs down, and that's fine. I understand. I was up front. You should be too. Leave a comment if you have any questions or comments about the collection or about Star Wars or about anything. Leave a comment. I will respond and heart your comment. I do appreciate any interaction and feedback from you guys. Means a lot to me. And subscribe to the channel if you would, and ring the notification bell so you find out the next time I'm going to explain to you why it is that I own action figures of characters that I don't really even care all that much about. You know, I mean, there are some that I really, really care about, like old Steve Rogers here, Captain America, and, you know, some Spider-Man, and who else? The Avengers, just generally. The Avengers is probably my favorite thing in Marvel Comics, and also in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I would give up every single figure you see right here in front of you for a truly good like update to Daredevil in Marvel Legends, or, you know, like a ROM level or Kazar level, you know, because I think those are the last couple of years, the best figures of the year for 2024 and 2025. Kazar and Zabu, you got to have them together, but together that was the best figure or figures of the year for Marvel Legends in 2024. 2025, definitely ROM Space Knight, unexpected, long needed, decades needed, and they blew that out of the park with incredible paint job, incredible sculpt. Nothing was missing. Everything was there. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. Unlike most of these Star Wars figures, especially little Shoddy here. Little Shoddy. That lightsaber's taller than he is. Look at it. It's fucking taller than he is. The lightsaber. Why? Why? Somebody explain it to me. Why? You don't have to. It's either because Hasbro's cheap or I don't know. Somebody's way too dedicated to statistics and measurements. Yeah. So that's it. I'm done. I don't think I have anything else to say about Star Wars. I probably ran out 5 minutes ago, right? Thanks for stopping by and spending 45 minutes with me. It means the world to me that you find this of interest, because it's just me This currently very damaged person sitting in his toy room talking about toys and hoping someone will listen, but knowing that even if they don't, at least I got it out of my system, right? That's what Action Figure Obsession is all about, getting things out of your system. I will see you again next time. Thanks again for stopping by, and I'll see you again next time on Action Figure Obsession. Bleep.